You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, Episode 9, Guest Appearances Galore.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast. The FINcast, or podcast, that, does the thing. I'm Raven Perez.
I'm Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
Thanks for coming to join us, Craig.
Craig.
It's been a while.
It's been 87 years.
Appreciate it. Welcome back to America.
It's been 17 years.
How was your trip abroad?
Don't you ignore him, Raven.
I have no frame of reference for what you speak of. I can't.
No, it was good. No, I was in Hong Kong and Japan. I didn't bring the coronavirus back.
Excellent.
I survived.
Great news.
Fun times, as always. And I'm actually glad to be back on the podcast. Was listening, and it's funny, like when you listen and I'm used to talking to you guys about it and I'm hearing your voices and it's like I want to talk and get a response back and it's not working.
Yeah, just yell at it louder.
Yeah. No! It's not Coventry of the Sword.
I know.
So we've got a pretty unique episode lined up. But before we get into that, because you missed both our retro reviews on Super Patriot, Craig, do you have any overall thoughts about the series?
Well, honestly, it's probably the retro podcast I didn't want to miss because Super Patriot and Dave Johnson is amazing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to it was one of the more fun podcasts that I'd heard, and I've been in our podcast, but you guys just had a lot of fun with this one, and I was like, I wanted to join in so bad.
There were a lot of slide whistles involved.
Yeah, no, it was such a good series, and so well drawn, and well written, I thought, for an action kind of story. But it was funny because it brings me back, and I remember, Super Patriot was probably one of the only non-Image Founder titles that I thought was better than most of the Image Founder titles.
That makes sense.
You had ones like Shaman's Tears or whatever. Trencher was cool too, but Super Patriot just came out and it was like, man, this guy's art is on the same level as the best artists of the day.
So
and I had no idea who he was.
Was Super Patriot considered one of those second wave titles with Wild Star and Shaman
Yeah,
Sears
I think it definitely wasn't the Founders titles. I mean, when I remember at the time, everyone was just excited about Jim Lee and Liefeld and Silvestri and Larson, and no one. I didn't know who Dave Johnson was until this issue came out. I don't think anybody really did. And the art is just amazing, especially when you look at the caliber of kind of art that was put out in the spin-off books at the time, especially a lot of the Liefeld knockoffs and stuff. It just really wasn't that good,
which we'll get into later.
Right.
Funny, you should mention that.
But it was just amazing. Johnson was doing stuff that I feel like even some of these top tier artists couldn't do. And he was just perfect for all the tech and everything. So I'm not going to keep going on and on because you guys went through a lot of it.
Good news, you'll have one more chance when we get
I
to
do
Liberty and
remember.
Justice.
I do remember Larson having to kind of change up his style on Super Patriot instead of just the tubes to kind of match Johnson's for a while, all the kind of crazy tech. And he's since gone back to just the simpler tubes, but at the time, I mean, what Johnson was doing with Super Patriot's technology and stuff was just just amazing. I
Yeah.
haven't seen anything like it. Just good. It was cool. I particularly, and I remember when you guys were talking about it, and I loved the panels where it was like Patriot from the different eras, drawn by different artists. That was freaking awesome.
I think Raven and I cracked the code. I think he was getting pretty heavily manga influenced or anime influenced, because that kind of like high tech stuff was pretty standard in anime at the time.
Yep.
Stuff like Akira and Ghost in the Shell and the like.
I have a copy of Inside Image from August '93, which was like the Image preview / newsletter, where they interviewed a bunch of them. And for Dave Johnson, they asked, what did they say? For those who haven't seen any of your work, how would you describe your style? He said, Euro manga kudzu-tek. Euro manga kudzu-tek.
Nice.
But yeah, so anyway, I love the series. It made a huge impression on me. I was bummed that it ended after it did, and he didn't really get back on it for a little while. But the one thing that's funny, and I'll end it on this, is I feel like Dave Johnson is like one of the most well-known artists that really hasn't done much.
Kind of true.
You know, he became
he doesn't
a cover guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
He's
became
kind of like Art Adams in a way.
Although,
Do a few and then just mostly covers.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
He became a cover guy quick. And the funny thing is that, like, I don't know if we mentioned it, but, like, the career trajectory for, like, a comic legend really, if you look at, like, North American comics, right, a lot of the names that people throw around, like, as really huge names, they actually don't fuck around with interiors that much. So it's kind of funny because with Johnson, he just blew up so quick and went down that path so fast.
Although he did do one other notable work, and that was Superman Red Son. With
Absolutely.
Mark Miller.
But that's about it, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Otherwise, I think he did
remember
a bunch
he
of
did
Hellboy or BPRD covers. I think I really remember.
I remember Kirkman got him to do a page in Invincible, like during his like Justice League knockoff guys. He did like the Aquaman, and it was like the way Kirkman wrote in the letters page is like it couldn't believe he got him to do a page.
I mean, the thing is, honestly, is that it's kind of like, I mean, it is harder to do panel to panel work just because you have less window of opportunity to really like soar and excel like illustration wise. And you do an illustration like a cover or something. Didn't Dave Johnson do a shit ton of 100 Bullets covers?
Yeah, he did them all.
Okay,
I think what put him on the map too, and they were like, he's just he's awesome at design work too. You know.
Oh yeah, unbelievable. And it's a shame you got these guys that are really super incredible, and you wish you could see more interior work from them. But it's like, that really is the career trajectory. Like, you think about, like, Art Adams, it's like, dude, he doesn't have to, like, fuck around with interiors. Like, he probably gets paid who knows how much per cover. Yeah. So it's like, why would he?
It's just amazing that we got him on 2 series for, like, a second-tier kind of Savage Dragon character, which is cool. It's awesome. I'm glad we got it, you know?
It really is special. Like you guys said, like, think about it. There's Red Sun. There's the Super Patriot work. That's really what springs to your mind.
Yeah.
Not as an insult either. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you know, some people like really make a huge impact with a limited number of work, and like that's definitely where he is.
And you guys were talking how, like, you know, it's not really collected, right? The second series is collected, but not the first.
Right.
Well, why is that? I don't understand.
Best guess is the coloring is lost.
Yeah, guys did say that. It's just crazy though, like, because you said Dave Johnson's only got a couple of series that he did interiors, and one of them's not collected. It's like, what?
Yeah. And it's one of those things. I know it's like, you know, we talk about this all the time, and Eric always like sort of. It's always the same answer. It's like the money's not there.
Yeah, it
like
costs for $5,000 to recolor one of these books, one of these issues.
Bingo.
It just seems weird that there's not demand for, like, Dave Johnson collected series.
Well, there probably is, but is there $20,000 worth of demand?
Right.
That's the problem. Yeah, and it's worse with this because I think at this point, like, we found where some of these pages, I think what I gathered from our research for that FINcast Retro was that he's not actually really big into selling his pages and stuff. And so it's actually kind of hard and rare to get stuff. But Super Patriot, some of that stuff did move and was sold. So it's kind of like the original art's gone. Like if you were to recolor it, you're talking about at that point separating the black from the color digitally from a comic.
Probably. You have to do that far. There aren't any like, what's it called, electrostatic copies or.
I mean, I think at this point they weren't. Probably nobody was preserving that stuff.
Right.
Is what's sad. So, yeah,
you
could do it. You could do it, but it would cost a bunch. Well, thank you for your opinion on that, Craig. You know, of course, we always miss whenever you're gone. We want to hear what you have to say too. So, thanks for chiming in on that.
I do want to give a shout out to Scott James, who did an awesome job, and I enjoy having him on. So, thank you, Scott, if you're out there. It was a pleasure listening to your opinions.
We just hear Schmendrick just off in the distance. Schmendrick. It's like,
all right. So we got a very special episode.
Can I real quick? I goofed Jim real quick before we. I'm sorry,
Raven.
I'm gonna let you. I did. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to say what the FINcast Retro is, and we did this whole thing without saying it. So I'm just going to say it real quick and then let you do your thing. FINcast Retro, dear listeners, if you haven't listened before, is just where, unlike a normal Savage Dragon FINcast, like Savage FINcast, where we talk about the current issues, these are where we're going back. We're revisiting the past Savage Dragon issues and Savage Dragon relevant issues, even cameos and stuff, in their sequential publishing date, like as close as we can. That's all I had to say. Jim, take it away. You're the cap.
Yeah, this is sort of a catch-up episode, because during this time period, Dragon wasn't just appearing in his own comic. He was appearing in many comics, sometimes for only one panel, but he was there. So we thought we'd just do a quick, these are all the places Dragon appeared between like 1992 and 1994, give or take. Some of them are significant, some of them not so significant. But I figured for completionist sake, we should say a little something about all of them.
Unfortunately.
Hey, gotta take the good with the bad.
Oh, we did.
Oh, yeah. There's some winners and there's some dogs.
There are poor podcasts out there that have dedicated themselves to reading every single one of these issues.
Oof.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, man. We're going through here, definitely some of these are going to be, we're going to have a lot to say. Others, literally, like Jim said, there's just a panel. And so that we're not going to have a lot to say about that.
So speaking of just
although we do review one issue at times, and it takes us 2 hours to get through, so we could probably say a lot about one panel.
Yeah. That's my thought on the matter. So, kicking us off here, we got Spawn number 4.
Speaking of one panel,
and not only one panel, a panel we've seen before. Towards the end of this issue, there's a sequence where Spawn sees Dragon on television, and two kids interrupt him and are very rude to him. And it's almost panel for panel identical to a scene that appears in Savage Dragon miniseries number 3.
Well, it's only one panel that's the same. It's one panel that's the same. The second panel has the same dialogue in each comic.
Right.
But it's from a different angle in the Savage Dragon comic.
Oh, really? Because
yeah.
I remember those two kids running in shadow. I thought that was like an identical.
No.
That Right On Man, let's check him out. Cool.
Savage Dragon Mini 3, it's like a close-up on Spawn's face, and the kids are running in the background.
Well, that's interesting.
But it's the same dialogue.
That makes sense. But yeah, the whole scene is about Spawn is in a trench coat, and two kids run up saying, look, it's that new superhero, and he thinks he's been fingered, but it turns out they're looking at Dragon on a bunch of TVs in a shop window.
Right.
And the kids are named Eric and Rob.
Yep.
Because obviously.
Backwards image cap, kids out at night. Like, street urchins.
So... like I said, there isn't really a lot to this cameo, because really it's just a cameo. The only dragon you see is his face on the television, and it's like classic wrong fin dragon in the cop uniform and the sunglasses. The one everyone draws because that's all they can remember.
But it really wasn't wrong fin at the time. Dragon's fin was weird in the beginning. Like he didn't start getting the fin like he has now until later.
Much later.
I still think this sequence is kind of like, it's funny. It's like definitely like self-aggrandizing. I remember even as a kid, I didn't love that the kids were named Eric and Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was reading it and I was like, oh, what is the point of this scene? Like, this scene's so corny.
Well, I think this scene, I think you said that this issue came out before the Savage Dragon miniseries.
Yeah.
Like, entirely?
I think it was drawn by McFarlane, and somehow, I don't know like how the process is, but it's the same exact drawing, but with different inks in Savage Dragon 3.
What I'm saying is, would this maybe be the first like indication of the larger Image universe?
It's got to be up there as one of them.
Just a real note. I'm not a big Spawn fan. I don't know if I mentioned. I haven't read a lot of Spawn, and I haven't even read a lot of this early Spawn. I gotta say, Todd McFarlane can draw. He's very good at it in this era.
Yeah. This is one of the 7 he drew.
One of the 7.
One of the 7. You read it. 6 to go.
Jesus. Wait. This is issue 4, and you said there's 6. Oh, 6 I haven't read. Okay, now I understand. But I think what's really stand out just in general is like the lettering and like how panels are all crazy, and like even caption boxes have like weird like scrolls and shit going on. And I gotta wonder what happened to all of that, and why wasn't it present when we read the Spawn issues for the Savage FINcast reviews?
Spawn actually won an award for its lettering, like I've never forgotten, and it is kind of funny.
It's Tom Orzechowski too, so
indeed,
yeah, and it's kind of like you can see why, like you said, like you've got just random words in color and underlining and things like bolding out, and like you said, like scrolls of paper.
An entire page of just sound effects.
Yeah. So yeah, Spawn's lettering on point.
Spawn always has that like gray halo around his bubbles.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't think he still has that in maybe I'm wrong. I can't really remember.
Yeah.
Also, I know so little about Spawn. I had no idea that Clown and what's this guy's face are the same person.
Violator.
Clown and Violator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were two different people.
Oh man, I have got to ask you, what's your opinion, since you never saw it probably, of the devil? How do you think? What do you think of Malbolgia? Malbolgia. What do you think of that design?
They're unique.
Hair.
It's highly different than the traditional devil design.
I do not like it.
Really?
I like Violator a lot. Like, I think Violator looks cool as shit. I do not think that Malbolgia or whatever looks fucking good at all.
They're not as like interesting designed as Violator.
I feel like if it tried to make it in a real movie, it would look like some Jim Henson Muppet or something.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Yes.
Also, I think they might be gigantic.
I mean, he's giant.
Yeah, he is.
It's one of these things.
Oh wow! You know what? I didn't notice it, but like the side angle is way different than the front angle. It's got like a jaw that junts way the fuck out.
You talking about Violator now?
No, I'm talking about whatever.
Because Violator does the same thing.
Yeah.
It's weird. Do you know that this issue has the coupon number 2 for Image Comics number 0?
Oh yeah, 2 of what? 5?
2 of like 100. 7. Brigade 2, Savage Dragon 3, Spawn 4, Youngblood 0, Cyber Force 1, Shadowhawk 1, and Wildcats 2. Redeem sets of all 7 coupons and get a copy of Image Comics 0.
Got my copy.
Viral marketing. Viral marketing in the pre-internet days.
Yep.
All right, so I think that's all we got to say about the Spawn appearance. And we got to come to Shadowhawk number 4, which is much more significant.
Oh yeah.
We got a cover penciled by Valentino and inked by Eric with Dragon on the cover.
Dude, love it.
It's a really cool cover.
Love it. Love this cover.
You can really see Eric's inks on this, I think.
Mm-hmm. Like that tone effect on the roof.
Yep. And then Finn has many segments.
But what's funny too is like it's like colored like a Savage Dragon like pinup would be.
Yeah, of this era with the
of this era,
really
like,
bright highlights.
Yeah, the super bright whites and stuff. So it's kind of like this pinup like could be a poster in Savage Dragon.
No, it's good. I feel like I know Valentino penciled it. It's super heavy on the Larson inks, and I feel like Larson probably did the cityscape because that's very Larson-y.
Mm-hmm.
Big time.
And the little like squiggles, like the inking and stuff, like the squiggles for the reflection on
the windows.
Shadowhawk's shoulder pads are very Larson-y of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool though. I love how like he always makes like dragon like shatter like stuff when he stomps. So like the edge of the building's just like cracking.
Debris. Just debris going over the edge, yeah. It's good, dude. I love this cover.
The era where Dragon's not all huge yet, too. He's still kind of just like a bulky Schwarzenegger type.
Agreed. It's a good look. And what's funny is, like, when you see this, like, image, you know, striking image of, you know, Dragon as a cop, like, you get why so many people just have that, like, idea of Dragon as a cop cemented in their head so much.
Yeah.
Like, they can't get away from it, even, like, 28 years later, like, see, I got that one right, motherfuckers. But, like, but yeah, 28 years later, like, and we still see people, like, I'm just saying it's a powerful visual, like, him as a cop.
No,
So,
and this cover, I gotta say, like, really stuck out, and it's probably one of the best covers of the early Image days.
Agreed.
I have read a bit more Jim Valentino stuff than I have the other Image founders, except for Eric, of course.
But I
have not read any Shadowhawk. So
You're not missing anything.
Really?
I don't know. I'm not a fan. I liked Guardians of the Galaxy by Valentino, the Marvel stuff. The stories were amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know, amazing, but they were just, for the time, I guess. I haven't gone back and read them, but I remember it as a kid loving them. Like, they were real fun. And I felt like Shadowhawk was just like a grim Batman type. I don't know. I just didn't see I was disappointed from him going from Guardians to Shadowhawk because I just felt like it was too gritty and not fun at all.
I've primarily experienced Jim Valentino through his old indie comic, Normal Man.
Yeah.
Which I have the archive of, which I love.
What's funny is, an outsider's perspective, I didn't read Shadowhawk mostly because I was not super in love with his, like, visual, you know?
Right.
But I did think that he was cool. I just, it was a budget thing. I just couldn't pick it up.
Right.
But I will tell you that I was keenly aware that he was a potently divisive character with his, like, backbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, even if you didn't read, like, you knew that was Shadowhawk's thing, is he'll fucking break your back, right?
Right.
And then didn't he have, like, AIDS or something?
Yeah, HIV.
I think that comes up later, because right now, in the terms of this story, his identity is still a secret. Even from the audience. Like, there's, like, a bunch of characters in this book that it's, like, implied to be. At least that's this is the only issue I've read, of course, so I don't know if maybe it was revealed in an earlier issue, but as best I can tell, there's a bunch of, like, red herring characters.
Yeah, no, they don't know. Like, that was a thing. Like, who is Shadowhawk? I even remember, like, I feel like one of the... Because he had 3 different miniseries, I believe, at least to begin with.
At least 3, right.
And a lot of them had, like, gimmicky covers, and one of them was, like, a cover where he, like, lifts the helmet off somehow. I forget. I have it somewhere. I haven't gone back and read them, but it takes a while before you find out.
But I will say this, just reading this issue, Valentino, I think, is someone I need to re-examine, because he's a lot like Larson, I think, and he's got a very traditional style.
Mm-hmm.
He does, and he's the guy behind stuff like 1963 with Alan Moore, and other stuff like that feels like he's a guy who, like, has finger on, like, the nostalgia early. Like,
I get that. I get that.
And like
For
we
sure.
always compare Eric to like Jack Kirby and
He's Valentina's also very indie oriented. Like you said, like he started off and spent a lot of time in indie comics.
yeah. And Shadowline still publishes a lot of like its own indie titles.
Yeah.
And when he was publisher, he pushed a lot more like indie feeling type comics.
Right.
Shadowline's big stuff. I know they do Bomb Queen for sure,
Yeah.
but what other? There was some other heavy hitter out of the Shadowline stable. It's not coming to mind right now.
I can't tell you off the top of my head.
Shadowhawk and Bomb Queen are the two big Shadowline characters, but man, there's another. And I know I'm forgetting it. Listeners, I know you're going crazy. I'm sorry. But, like, I know that there's Shadowline has, like, a third, like...
Cowboy Ninja Viking.
That was one
that
of
got
them.
optioned for a film, even.
Yeah.
Hold on,
Which is crazy as hell. That's a
Morning
crazy...
Glories.
I got an internet here. Hold on.
Morning Glories, right.
Yes, that was it.
Yep, that's what I was thinking, I think.
Peter Panzerfaust. Rat
I've heard
Queens.
really good stuff about... Oh, Rat... Good lord, yes, dude.
He published A Distant Soil by
Oh,
Colin
okay.
Doran. That's a big deal one.
Okay, so he's doing good work. I mean, you're right, Jim. I've slept on Valentino hard, and it's not like anything that I'm like super like, oh, yeah, who cares? It's like I think it's a failing on my part. Like I would like to dig in a little deeper and get more, fill in that hole in my education. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am similar.
This is one of the best things we're going to discuss today.
Yeah. So
I mean, in every way.
just to kind of get into the story of this issue, Dragon is in New York because this takes place roughly between the miniseries and the ongoing, when Frank Darling was sending Dragon out on assignments to get him out of Chicago.
Yeah.
Right.
That included one of the Wild Star story and the Ninja Troll team up. Although that takes place in issue 2, so it's one of those.
Right.
But at this time, Dragon would go to other places and be like a problem solver to varying degrees of success. So Dragon's in New York, and they basically want him to find Shadowhawk and either stop him or figure out who he is, or just otherwise confront him just to do something, because they had no luck stopping this guy from paralyzing and killing criminals.
Right, again, that's his thing, is he's a vigilante, but he is killing criminals. So it's kind of a problem for the, law enforcement.
He's breaking their back.
Breaking their back.
He's not killing them, he's just
paralyzing
he's
them.
just punishing them.
Yeah, he's paralyzing them.
That makes sense. And there's this whole subplot with some villains that I assume are Shadowhawk's villains.
Well, they're trying to get him to join their crew.
Yeah.
Because he breaks backs if he's already halfway a villain. So they think they can change him.
Yeah. It's kind of
I always love fire. Like one of the villains in this group is a fire guy.
Arson.
I just love how he's like, I'm on fire. Everything I touch burns. He's like, how am I going to eat?
Yeah.
But then he's like sitting on this apartment, walking around in this apartment. Nothing's catching on fire. It's okay.
Yeah.
You got to hand wave a few things.
I do like the use of a collage for the city. Like on that Midtown Vendetta panel where Arson first shows up.
Oh, that
like
is a photograph.
Yeah, it's just a colored photograph. But it's just kind of like, I was like, I don't actually hate that. I'm okay with that.
Then there's a lot of other stuff tied in with other comics that we have no time for.
Well, I do like stuff. They throw in nice little nods. This is still the early Everyone's Connected era.
Wait, who are the others? Where was that mentioned?
I think it's another Valentino property.
Oh.
But
I think we actually talked about one of their ads or something.
Yeah, we might have.
I think I recall that, yeah. Let's try and spot the others.
And
I'm trying to find out where it's mentioned, though. Like, what page is that?
They're in that lab or that
space. See the others elsewhere in this issue, which suggests... I don't know what that suggests. But anyway, Shadowhawk catches a criminal in the act, someone with a gun, hurting a girl. So Shadowhawk comes in and beats the shit out of him, busts him up real good. And that's just what Dragon needs to actually find the guy. And so Dragon heads out and confronts Shadowhawk.
And fisticuffs ensue.
Indeed, there's a pretty good fight here. I kind of like how Valentino draws Dragon here, leaping down on the roof, the page where it says Dragon says too late.
Yeah,
it's pretty on model with what Dragon had looked like
at
so
that
far.
time.
Yeah, it's good. This is actually like, I don't have like we're gonna get in some Oogie Dragons later, but like this is a really good actually like solid rendition.
Yeah, he's not like weirdly skinny like Jerry Ordway's was.
Yeah, he's on model, man. You know, and also too, I think, and we'll get into it later. Like in another one, there's one where like the powers just don't match up. You know, like Dragon. Oh, I can't leap this chasm. It's like, come on, dude. Like, yeah, you can. He totally fucking can.
Yeah, we get some pretty good acrobatics here. Dragon leaps over Shadowhawk's head, does a flip, pops him one.
Yeah, which is great. Like I said, it's like he's on model. Like he's doing things that Dragon would do. Like that leap over, like you said, the one you just described, where he leaps over Shadowhawk's head to cut him off. That's great, dude.
And he's really on like character too, because he's like, I hate you spandex freaks.
Yeah.
Although he's a little obsessive about due process in this issue, a little more than usual. He's really putting the cop stuff first here.
I gotta say, going back to the cover, I enjoy that the cover reflects the insides.
Yep.
Besides, like what Larson was doing, I don't feel like there were many Image comics that were doing that. Most of the covers were like pinup style covers, so it was cool.
Yeah, it's funny. He's even says it like here. He's like, he goes, society makes most criminals. You make them a burden on that society. Talking about the backbreaking.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Like you said, he's really a public servant in this one.
Yeah. Our society is built on laws.
Right.
I think it works for this though because Shadowhawk, they're trying to show kind of the yin and the yang here, that Shadowhawk's kind of the anti-hero that doesn't follow laws, where Dragon's actually a cop, you know?
Right.
You're right. That's actually a great point. That is they do lean into it, but that does draw the line very cleanly between, like, Shadowhawk wasn't, even in his own book, was considered like kind of maybe like a bad vigilante. And like here you have law enforcement. Like, yeah, you're right. Just agreeing with you. You're right. That's actually a really good use of the character. This is good. This is a good issue. Like, good art, good use of Dragon, good use of powers.
But then the fight gets stopped by this blackjack guy who can fly. I'm not really sure what his total deal is.
He's part of that criminal crew.
Right.
So
yeah,
the boss sends him out, and they're like, get rid of Dragon, because they're trying to recruit Shadowhawk to be on their crew, and Dragon's kind of getting in the way.
Yeah, and
they don't want Dragon to hurt him.
Yeah, Shadowhawk's actually pretty hurt. Apparently, he's got like broken ribs and internal bleeding. Because
again, it's another. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
He's just like a regular person, so getting beat up by Dragon is a big problem.
Right.
Of course, if this was the mid 2000s, Dragon would just punch his head off and be done with it.
Right. This kick Dragon does to that dude's face. Hilarious.
A little weird.
Hilarious, dude. That is the autofellatio kick.
For the listeners, if you don't have the issue, it's just kind of like what is he? He's like swinging his legs over his head.
He's dislocated his hip.
Yeah, he is kicking. The guy that is carrying him, like, to try to paint a word picture for you if you're in your car, like driving to work or exercising at the gym. He is, the guy that's carrying Dragon is behind him. He's holding Dragon like under the armpits, and Dragon's facing the same direction he is, and Dragon is somehow
he's flying with Dragon, so he's got him under the arms.
Right, and somehow Dragon's managed to kick behind his own head with a
swinging his legs frontwards.
So big swinging forward kick. Yeah, and it looks weird as hell, dude.
And he does it with he does it with enough momentum to actually flip over to stand on the guy's back as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that. Ugh,
Oh, kicks him in the
Not
face
good.
and flips up.
not good.
I do like it though, like Dragon, crawling out of the rubble.
Yeah,
Fucking super freaks.
Yeah, he gets chucked into a office building. Man, I like
What is
that.
he coming through the ceiling? Is that what it is?
Yeah, he gets dropped
Yeah.
through the ceiling.
Yeah, the guy's like, I can fly and you can't. And he just lets Dragon drop, and Dragon
Make skyscrapers out of wood now, I guess.
It's true.
Yeah, fair enough. There is wood in that pile for sure.
That's true. That's true, right? It would be reinforced concrete or something.
Steel.
But here we just see wood. Your wooden
Can I tell you,
skyscrapers.
Can I tell you something funny? Here's a little thing that applies exactly to this moment. Me and my roommate, both comic artists, and he comes to live here, in Pittsburgh, and I'm walking around or whatever, and he goes, "You know what I realized?" And I said, "What's that, dude?" And he goes, "Walking around this city," he said, "I realized I've been drawing cities wrong my entire life." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I get it." I said, "It's one of those things where when you don't really live around them, you just have the complete wrong idea."
What, like how?
Just basically like how you might compose a city, like when you've never seen or really spent time in and around a bunch of buildings and stuff. And Pittsburgh doesn't really have skyscrapers exactly, but I mean, even just what Pittsburgh has, you get an idea quickly that the things you were maybe making up, you just like putting, for example, wood in a heap of, the heap of a roof. That's the kind of mistake somebody who maybe never spent a lot of time in a city might make. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I gotta imagine Valentino spent a lot of time in many cities, but I don't know.
Well, he penciled, didn't ink, so we'll just say that because he didn't. Someone else inked this, so he probably didn't intend there to be wood grain texture on some of this. But,
I don't know.
But
all right. Moving on.
Yeah, just to wrap this up, there's a whole bunch of stuff with the villains in Shadowhawk that we will just pass over. And the end of the issue has Dragon flying out of JFK Airport back to Chicago, and basically saying his city's going to hell in a handbasket, has to get home. The local cops thank him, but Dragon's confused because he didn't actually catch the guy. But Dragon did provide him with a detailed description, which they did not have before.
Yep.
Is that definitely that one panel? It looks like Larson actually drew and someone else inked.
Oh, that dragon face?
Yeah.
That is kind of a Larson dragon face, so I don't know.
Anyway. Well, that's that.
That's that. That is Shadowhawk.
It's all downhill from here.
Well, you say that. So next we got a really brief appearance in Supreme #2, which was...
what year is that?
This is published...
92?
93. February 93. And it's written by Rob Liefeld, but penciled by Brian Murray.
Yeah, dude, I remember, again, we won't get too deep into any of this, really short appearance stuff. But I remember I thought, man, this Brian Murray art is fucking great when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was like, damn.
When I was a kid, yeah.
I don't think the coloring's very good.
No, it's not, dude.
No.
But I actually think this is actually, compared to some of the stuff we've read, I mean, this didn't age horrible, really. It aged better than a lot. You know what I mean?
The character designs aged horribly.
What,
Yeah.
Supreme?
Not Supreme, but
The enemies
villains.
he fights.
Oh, yeah. The very generic mooks, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dragon's only appearance in this issue is in a big double-page spread where we see basically all the heroes of the Image universe
Yep.
as a big spread. Supreme is just awakened from whatever slumber he's been in for the last...
No. He flew back to Earth.
Oh, he's been
Returned
in
to
space.
Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, after 50 years. So I think he left right after World War II. He returned.
And he finds all these heroes, and he's not super impressed with a lot of them because of how a lot of them are controlled by the government and kind of violent.
It's the first page, too, the very first panel. He's like, Sentinel, Glory, Super Patriot, all my old comrades gone. He basically says they're ultimately defeated by their own mortality. So they're all old.
They're all
Or
old
dead.
or dead.
And then he's using his supervision, kind of, right?
Yeah.
And he's like looking through, and I guess that's how he's kind of understanding what's going on with the current heroes.
Yeah, the dragon relevant thing is literally just almost like a thought process. He's like, there's no way in hell all these people are in this one place. He's just sort of thinking through shit. Yeah. You get to see Wetworks and Wildcats, and it's actually a pretty sweet pinup.
Spawn's enemies. Which one's Wetworks? Is Wetworks the ones in the top
panel?
They're
above
bottom.
Dragon's shoulder.
Yeah. Oh, that's Wetworks.
The gold guys.
Yep.
I see now.
Then there's Brigade.
I think
the ones that are
Spawn's drawn pretty good.
Yeah, that chain, dude. That foreshadowing foreshortening on that chain. Foreshadowing is for writing, kids.
But yeah, this is the only real dragon bit in this issue, and I did just want to say that there's like a Lex Luthor type character in this issue who's a complete psycho because he basically murders Supreme's entire like old supporting cast.
Right,
his Lois Lane and his Jimmy Olsen, just like it's real brutal. So
it's kind
Billy Nelson.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of implied he hits the Shazam character with the news truck.
No, I think that's supposed to be Jimmy.
That's a Jimmy Olsen character.
Oh, Billy Nelson.
Same
Billy Nelson. Yeah,
you're right. I'm an idiot.
He's a photographer. Yeah.
Yeah, really grisly that page.
Louise Lane.
Louise.
And apparently I think this is a bare woman's breast here.
What?
In that photograph.
Yeah, he sexually assaulted Louise.
Yeah, it's not great.
I mean, dude, there was a rapist in Shadowhawk. I'm just saying, like, it's the 90s, dude. People didn't like...
Well, Supreme was supposed to be, like, a brutal Superman.
Yeah, that's his whole thing, yeah. Mostly, apparently, because he comes back and everyone he knows and loves is dead. And so he decides he's going to, like, kill people.
Jim, how do you like that guy's fucking mouth on that page?
What?
Like, you know,
how do you like that guy's mouth?
How do you like that guy's fucking mouth? Like, no, like the way it's like...
making a face.
Dude, his teeth, he's like... Fuck you,
It was the era of talking through your teeth.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, the Merman guy villain. He's a weird looking dude.
So what's funny is that, like, I actually thought that guy was cool as shit as a kid.
What, the one with the wings?
Yeah, you did. You were horribly wrong.
Yeah, I was. Like, the one
that
can fly around.
The one that looks like Merman.
With the wings.
Yeah. The one that gets, like, analyzed later in the issue. Like, Supreme's, like, looking at him. No. Analyzed. Analysis. But, like, the guy that, like, Supreme uses the X-ray vision on. That guy.
I'll be honest. I kind of like Riot's design because it's simple. And
Who's Riot?
He's the speedster. He's the runner. He's the fast guy.
Oh, okay.
With the dreads.
Yeah.
You don't usually see like ripped super speeders like that.
Yeah. They play into the trope of being slim.
Right.
Yeah.
But these guys are not the most memorable in design or purpose. Also, there's like one of those sideways double page spreads in this issue.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of those? Because I hate them.
No,
not a fan, dude.
As a digital reader, it really double fucks you.
Can I also say that this was the era of bad names?
Oh yeah,
Grislock. As
that
the
sounds
name
like
for
a transformer.
Yeah, it is, dude.
It sounds like Grizzlor, the He-Man guy.
It does not sound like a businessman, is all I'm saying. Like, Grislock, you fiend. It's like, that is a transformer. For sure.
Yeah, this is just, I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of Image comics where the artists just weren't ready for the prime time yet that were getting it. And it's funny that you were like, you love the art. I don't think
anybody
he's
said
good,
they loved the art.
Nah.
Raven, you did when you said when you were young. No?
I think when I was young, dude, this shit worked. Like, listen, when I was young, I thought this was fucking bad to the bone. Like, I loved it. I loved it as a kid. Like, I'm not even going to play. Now, I think it holds up better than a lot of that stuff, but also, too, it's hard to ignore the problems. I think if it was colored better, it'd look better.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you look at the scene where, like, the prison, like, how big is that room? And then look at like everyone standing on a different like angle. I don't know, like the
But
toilet's
it's so
one
dynamic.
way. Like
So much energy.
It's just so strange.
You know, I mean, the thing was, though, I mean, I'm really not defending it, but, like, I'm just saying, it's kind of the hallmark of the era, dude. I mean, it was, like, the rule of cool, like, style over substance. Like, people were doing fucking wacky shit, like, as long as it looked good. Like, the teeth, man, the gritting teeth. It is, like, gritting teeth overload. There's a page in here where, like, the Lex Luthor insane villain is gritting his teeth at a smile, and the next panel is like Supreme gritting his teeth right back. Yeah. It is just the grittiest tissue, like so many teeth, dude.
Just perspective is so bad throughout this whole issue, though. It's like, shouldn't you be able to?
It's a fisheye lens.
It's so strange.
Yet somehow,
like, shouldn't you be able to master perspective before you're a professional like comic book artist? I don't know. I guess not.
I see the panel you're talking about. The most egregious one is definitely the "I have come to kill you." Right?
Look at that toilet. Just look at that toilet.
Look at how like Supreme is standing, the villain standing, the table, the toilet.
It's insane. It's like a dream, like how people draw dreams. It really is
so bad.
It's crazy as hell. And then the color, there's also weird color. I'm telling you, the coloring, dude. There's weird coloring decisions. Like in the very next panel, the guy's eye is like yellow and red for some reason.
Oh, he's crazy?
Yeah.
That's how you know he's crazy.
He's got
the
jaundice.
Walls, the textured walls, strange.
Computer textured, yeah.
And yet,
for the listener, they're computer textured. It doesn't fit at all.
All right, I think we spent enough time talking about Supreme.
It's so fun.
Now we got to talk to real stuff.
Can I just say something? The back cover of Supreme #2 is an ad for Brigade 2. It's like, it says, "First you felt the blood, now you see it. First ever mirror coat cover."
The fuck does that mean?
What is a mirror coat cover?
I think it's like reflective or something.
It says,
wait. It mirror coat?
But it's spelled Mirrricote.
And it's got that weird, like, gel-looking blood all over it.
Rub the blood.
I wonder if the blood is, like, raised up or, like, feels funny.
I saw one of these in
first
person.
issue of Brigade was.
Oh.
That's why I said, first you felt the blood, now you see it. Because the first issue of Brigade, you could feel the blood. It was, like, raised on the cover.
That was the Rub the Blood one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But now Brigade 2 is topping that with a mirror coat cover.
Mirror coat. Man, I don't hate that era, though. I'm sorry. That's so insane. That's the craziest shit ever.
But
isn't that Cabot on the cover? Are they fighting Bloodstrike?
Yes. That's who's the guy with the silver thing, like Seahawk or something?
Yeah, he's the weird silver mask.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So
Supreme, dude. Whew.
All right, Bombast #1. This is probably the weirdest one we're gonna. Well, this might be the second weirdest one we're gonna talk about.
Dude, this is a fucking weird fucking.
just to give the audience some clarity. So back in the early '90s, everybody with like two sticks rubbed together could start a comic publishing company.
Yeah.
So collectible card company Topps decided, yeah, this is something we're going to get into. And Topps Comics was born. They primarily published like licensed comics, like they did all the Mars Attacks comics, some Xena Warrior Princess stuff. But they also did this, what they called the Kirbyverse series of books, which was all based on old Jack Kirby designs. Now, Jack Kirby died in 1994. And this imprint started in 93, so he was alive when it launched.
Right.
And in fact, I believe it says here he drew like 8 pages for the lead-in story. Because here's the weirdest part about it.
Satan 6, he has pages.
The Satan 6 series, he's got pages. So the way this was, they had to put a diagram of this on the inside cover so you understand.
Dude, nothing beats that diagram. That is the funniest shit ever, dude.
So the launch series was Secret City Saga #0, and then there were 4 one-shots: Bombast, Night Glider, Captain Galore, and Satan 6 #1. And then Bombast, Night Glider, and Captain Glory became Secret City Saga issues 1 through 4 miniseries. And then Satan 6 got 3 more issues for 4 issues total.
And then it says end ... for now.
So all of this got published. I actually own all of these. I got them all in a 6 for $1 bin about 6 months ago.
Issue 0 is actually pretty cool. It's Steve Ditko.
Yeah.
Didn't Simonson ink it too?
What's crazy is all the names attached to all these books. In fact, I've got got a list here.
Awesome.
Let's see here. No, that's not my list. Where's my list? Here we go. So, shit, that doesn't say that. But like Captain Glory was done by Thomas and Ditko.
Mm-hmm.
Silver Star was written by Kurt Busiek. Night Glider was Jerry Conway, Don Heck. Don Heck's like
all legends.
A legend. And then this one we're about to read by Bombast as art by Dick Ayers, who's another Atlas Marvel era DC legend.
Mm-hmm. And Roy Thomas plotted.
Well, Roy Thomas wrote a bunch of these. Roy Thomas, of course, was Stan Lee's number 2. He was editor at Marvel for years. He did a lot of epic runs on stuff at Marvel and DC. I'm a big fan of his
yeah, his stuff's great. He's good.
Why am I blanking on that? All-Star Squadron, that's it. But these books are...
It's a lot of old legends.
Yep, and they're all coming together to do these Jack Kirby designs and Jack Kirby ideas. And Bombast...
Basically, the covers of these things were the design. They're drawn by Jack Kirby, and they're basically pinups by Jack Kirby. That they took these pinups and made. They're probably all unrelated, and they made them into like this team,
this cohesive universe.
And I think on the Satan 6 one, McFarlane inked the cover or something.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure to Kirby's pencils.
Fits. He was known for Spawn. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
So this story takes place in Chicago, which sort of explains why Dragon turns up for reasons.
But, dude, it is a Chicago out of time.
There's a lot of stuff. Oh, yeah, this car is definitely out of time.
Like, what time era is this Chicago, dude?
This gentleman, what's his name? This kind of point of view character, I can't remember his name. But anyway,
Junkie?
Whatever.
You mean Junkie?
Is that his name, Junkie?
I swear if they like,
I don't think they gave him a name.
I don't think they name him, dude. And the whole time they're this junkie, another junkie. And I'm like, God damn, give this guy a name.
Wow, he's got no name. And he's
young
junkie.
They
just I always like make it a point to say he's black.
Yes.
Black junkie.
Like what?
Thank you, dude.
His
it's terrible.
Is bizarre. You can tell this book was written by white people.
Yes, dude. It's bad.
You got it all wrong, man. Chill out. Let me rap with you.
Oh, God.
Yes, dude. It's
hey, fool. What's happening? Ground splitting.
Yes, dude. It's terrible.
So, anyway, there's an earthquake in Chicago because that happens. And this kid falls into this underground chamber where he finds this football player in a tube.
Yeah.
Who is apparently he cannot speak English.
Football player in a tube.
It's accurate.
He never speaks English the entire issue. So he spends
which was
the entire,
an insane
That's actually
choice.
pretty cool.
He spends the entire issue going back and forth with this guy saying, I can't understand you, I can't understand you.
Dude, that's what I'm saying is it's so insane. I can't believe they made that choice to have him the whole issue just be like, what? Whatever. Like, they'll be talking and they'll be completely unrelated.
Yeah. So apparently,
Can I say that
this
the art is actually good, though?
Like, the art's incredible.
The art is good.
Yeah, I mean, Ayers, like I said, is a legend.
And still was like...
And this book is Silver Age is all fucking
good.
get out.
Yeah. I'm not going to slight that art, dude.
Oh, well, except for that one panel.
I mean, there's things
that
you can
one
slide,
infamous panel.
Yes, yeah.
Bomb popsicle.
Yeah.
But so apparently this dude is like either a robot or a genetic clone of some kind from 15,000.
Stand back, Jack. Don't get nervous.
15,000 years in the past.
Yo, mama.
Woof.
Who's that? Sure ain't no extra from a Spike Lee movie.
Why, dude?
Has to be Spike Lee.
Why did he say that? God damn. When I read that, I was like, what? Why would that?
Oh, the kid's name is Darren. Says,
Darren?
yo, spaceman, me Darren.
Me, Darren. Okay, he's got a name. Thank God.
Darren, not Junkie. But Darren, this is one time we learned Darren's name. And even later in the issue, they call him Junkie again. No time for this Junkie story. We must move on. And I'm like, why? He has a name. His name's Darren. God.
So a whole bunch of crap happens. Just man out of time making a fool of himself, drawing attention to himself.
All over the place.
Until finally, the law arrives. The green arm of the law. Dragon.
Sat there for 15,000 years. His, costume didn't, disintegrate, or...
He's in a tube.
He didn't grow a long-ass beard.
He was in a tube.
He's in a tube.
Preserved.
Preserved, hermetically sealed.
His muscles haven't atrophied.
Oh, but dude, they said they did at least give that a concession. They said the tube kept him alive,
Yeah. All right.
So
He's
Dragon.
from 15,000 years in the past, but they were apparently way more advanced than us. But also, too, not, because he also misses nature all the time and is terrified of cars. This guy's all over the goddamn
He
map,
is all over the
dude.
place.
Because he lives in a place where maybe it's organic machines.
I think that's the implication, yeah.
Can we say one thing? It's there's a Severin that is credited as helping with the art here, too. And that name's hitting my ears like Mad Magazine related, because some of these faces are very Mad Magazine.
John Severin's a famous artist.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's Mad, right?
Hold
Is
on.
he from Mad?
No. Didn't he do, Avengers and stuff?
Hold
Maybe
on.
he did Mad, too.
I have the power of the internet.
Thank you.
EC Comics.
John Severin.
Click, 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 click.
Wait, I lost it. How do you spell it?
Sergeant Fury.
Spell it to me.
Sergeant Fury. Let's see. Severin, you want it spelled?
Never mind.
Right now, Michel Fife is rolling in his grave.
Yes, dude. But I'm just saying, I love it. I love the faces. These are good-ass faces.
I think he inked.
Yeah.
I think he inked a lot of the stuff Ayers penciled, because I'm seeing a lot of the same titles between the two of them. But yes, he's from that same general era. He did a bunch of Call the Conqueror and
Lots of EC comics.
and yes,
I think.
he did he did some Mad Magazine stuff, but he did Mad Magazine in for issue number 1 through 10.
Oddly enough, those must have been
But
what I saw.
He must have.
He did a lot of 60s Marvel's work.
Yeah, he must have. I think he inked Wally Wood on Mad Magazine number, the early Mad magazines. Just to guess.
So, anywho.
But yes, he's another legend, brought out of retirement for this grand experiment.
Yeah, you were saying
Bombast.
Dragon shows up and gets a chop in the neck
Yep, they have a throwdown.
from All Cops Are Bastards Bombast.
Fuck the police, Bombast.
Yeah, no one lays hands on Bombast.
At least Dragon didn't have to travel to, New York again.
It's true, he got to do this in his own hometown.
Yeah. I do kind of like the weird gimmick, so they kind of try, they call him the Catapult Man the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's weird. That's weird how they kind of sort of link catapults to this. I think it's cool. What his gimmick really is, though, is he seems like he can just kind of fling the shit out of his, he can jump, throw things. So in a way, it's funny to have him fighting Dragon in this way.
You're right, because he's also got super aim.
Super aim and weaponizing things. He's weaponizing manhole covers and trash and bricks. And I'm just Dragon would have been actually a really killer match if they'd known his power set.
Yeah.
And then we get that amazing panel of Bombast leaping away in the background with Dragon in the foreground, his hand precariously placed in front of his legs to make Bombast look like a popsicle.
Yeah.
The most egregious tangent infraction ever.
This is
Yeah.
a classic no-no.
Yeah, and then on the top of that same page, we have Bombast eluding Dragon via jumping too far. Which, again, it's just no, dudes.
No. Dragon jump real good. It's his
Yeah,
primary power.
It's like he's got a goddamn rocket up his ass. He can jump like crazy.
Although he does jump around, but back in the early Image days,
Jump around.
Dragon doesn't jump around as much as you'd think. Malcolm jumps around a lot.
A lot more.
Dragon doesn't as much.
He does, but not as much.
Pretty good, dude. Remember Through the Roof? That iconic Through the Roof to shoot the
But
guys?
that's him falling through the roof.
No.
He jumped.
He jumped up. He leapt up.
Yep. Jumped up and came down.
I don't know.
Did it like a dive down.
Yep.
And then he jumped out of the water and that against Bad Rock.
Yeah, but that's in water. You can jump higher in water. That's what Mega Man taught me.
Oh my goodness.
And so Dragon exits the story and never comes back. Yep, he's not in the rest of this issue. Although
some other cops from 1953 show up.
Although I swear this one female cop towards the end, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Alex.
But they definitely don't call her that. They call her.
No.
Yeah, they call her someone else. And what's funny is people even talk like the past.
Yeah.
Like they talk like the past. Like it's so weird.
Operator, get me the commissioner.
Sir, this is an Arby's.
I love the police car. Is that from the past or the future? I don't know. Nobody knows.
These Chicago cops, they have like checkerboards on their hats. Like it's so weird, dude.
What's up with the car? Did you look at the police car?
It's weird. It's like
it's either from the future or the past. I can't tell.
It's so wide and square, and yet I don't know.
It looks like it should hover.
Also, I'm now realizing this robotic guy has roller skates.
You mean
rollerblades?
Death Flash has Heelys.
Woof.
He does look very Kirby-ish, though.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, his design is actually awesome as hell, and I love the way he's colored.
Yeah, I do. I like the purpley eyes and silver skin, but
blues and magentas. Yeah, he's cool though.
So this is a really weird comic, and I'm glad we got to share it with you.
Yeah,
Captain Glory at the end is the weirdest looking here.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Captain Glory is just really out of place. Like, he doesn't look like he matches the other two, which is what, Night Glider?
Yeah, Night Glider.
Yeah, I like how her name's Glida.
Night Glider. Yeah, Captain Glory, just weird, dude.
Just it's his color scheme, also his star face mask. It's a lot of things.
And the weird twist of his torso.
Some wrestler.
Yeah, he's basically a wrestler, isn't he?
Like the way his knees are turned towards Night Glider, but the way he's like sort of like his, it's just weird. He's a weird dude.
Can I let you guys in on a secret? I have this issue.
So do I.
Sealed. I never opened it.
I opened it for this podcast
because of the chromium card inside, and I thought I was going to make millions off of it.
You may yet. I can't imagine there's very many of these people.
When I wake up 15,000 years from now.
Right. Well, what's up, John Turkey? What's in your hands?
Keep this in mind, Raven. I bought every issue of these Topps comics in a 6 for $1 bin, and they were all sealed and they all had their cards.
Oh, I stand corrected. Topps must have overprinted the shit out of this.
It was 1993. Everyone overprinted. This was going to be the next big thing.
Dude, if they printed 1,000 of these, it's probably overprinted for today's standards.
Yeah.
All right, enough bashing on Bombast. We got to get something better. So we got the Maxx number 6. Now, I've never read the Maxx either.
Oh, I love the Maxx.
You've read the Maxx. Have you read the Maxx, Craig?
I have this issue. I think I have all the original issues up to, like, I don't know, maybe issue like 10, and then I stopped.
I didn't finish the Maxx. I started,
I didn't either.
But I never finished. And it wasn't.
I thought it was cool. I just felt like I didn't know what was going on ever.
I think it's supposed to be dreamlike like that.
It is, yeah.
It is, and I just kind of felt like I had enough. I don't know.
So it's
cool visuals. I love Sam Keith.
Yep, This is Sam Keith's book, and this issue has Dragon in it, but it is more of a Mako issue.
Big time, dude. Big time.
And this is the Sam Keith Maxx had that cartoon on MTV. You guys remember that?
I
Maxx.
remember it being advertised. I never watched it.
Oh,
And
it's
then
great.
They basically just animated the comics, and then they had to like take Dragon out of this comic for the cartoon.
But did they have Mako in it?
I believe so.
They had a generic shark dude. He didn't have
Was it
like
a generic shark dude?
He didn't have the tubes.
But did they have Calvin
Gotcha.
and Hobbes in it?
Right? Right? I like how they're just like, fuck it, Calvin
Fuck
and
it.
Hobbes. Fuck it, Calvin and Hobbes. Just put them in the alley.
So I assume the Maxx lives in this cardboard box?
He's a homeless man, yeah.
I see. So Dragon shows up with an amazing ass.
The award for weird dragon body types goes
Look
to...
at those upper thighs. Goddamn.
Yeah, dude, meaty. He's a meaty boy. He's thick.
And right off the bat, you start to see the Sam Keith inconsistency thing because he goes from this weird, kind of cool, spiky-looking fin to the traditional weird fin. Also, his arms lose about 3 inches.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam Keith, dude, he's awesome. He's just not going to draw the same thing twice.
He's not going to draw the same thing twice. And Mako shows up on the next page. And first of all, those are some crazy abs, Mako.
Yep.
Good job, Mako.
Mm-hmm.
But you see him here clearly jumping through a window or skylight or something. And he looks naked.
Yeah.
And yet throughout the issue, he sometimes has his weird shoulder tubes.
Yep.
And other times he does not.
Yep. No real.
And
no
on
real
one panel,
rivalry.
he's fully clothed.
Yeah. Yep. Dude, Sam Keith, man. Like I said, he just does whatever the fuck he wants.
And you could just say it was like a dreamlike state.
Yeah, I suppose you could. I will say these things that I've written down.
The Izzes.
What the fuck are these creature cops?
They are the Izzes, which the Heavy in this series used them as minions, basically, like literally like the minions from the movie Minions.
The movie Minions.
Yeah, they were his minions, and
Regular people can't tell what they are?
yeah, regular people, you just saw what you wanted.
I see, because Dragon observes that they are short, but that is it.
Yep, they're just cops to him. They're just short.
Weird.
But the Maxx can see him.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Mako being called a third-rate villain and a lackey is pretty funny when, we consider Mako one of Dragon's, top antagonists.
Right.
Historically. Although at this time he is...
At this time he wasn't.
At this time he is a lackey of Cyberface. I mean, not Cyberface. Overlord. So you can kind of see it. But I gotta say, this must be the first time Mako's really been cool.
Hey,
Not even in Savage Dragon is he this cool yet.
The bloodlust thing, I kind of like.
Yeah.
It seems...
Well, don't forget, at this time, the only thing we know of him is he chewed off Super Patriot's limbs, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, in this, they treat him like a real shark. So, he gets blood hungry and, for whatever reason, fixates on the mask, or the Maxx. Fuck, I would love to say the Maxx.
I think it's implied later he was hired to attack the Maxx for some reason.
Right. So, it's kind of like, it's funny just, that's definitely not an element of his character. Like this berserker sort of thing.
I mean, it's not brought up often, but I sometimes always got the feeling that it was there.
You mean run around yelling, blood, 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 blood? Like, he's insane in this issue, dude. He's fucking nuts. But I like it. I mean, I think it's cool, but do you really think Mako sort of is just insane like that?
I think he can be. Maybe he mellowed out with his old age, but...
Blood, 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 blood!
He's a shark. I mean, that's how sharks are.
I think it's funny, the weird sort of metatextual commentary on violence, this whole issue.
Yeah.
They're selling violence, so it's funny that they would also choose to, pick on it a little.
Right, so, the purple borders is the Max's thoughts, right?
I gotta be honest.
You don't remember?
I mean, the purple ones, you could tell when the Maxx is thinking, but
he's in his savage world or whatever he calls it, right?
The Outback.
The Outback.
Yeah.
Because there's also this little dude.
Well, the little red dude, I think, I'm trying to remember. Oh man, did you talk about like Michelle Fife going nuts, or like any listener, like the fans of the Maxx?
We don't read the Maxx. We're Savage Dragon podcast.
It's just been a while.
It's been a while. I think honestly that is Mr. Gone, the villain, and I think he got killed, but like he's using Julie's head till he gets his own back. I think the Maxx decapitated Mr. Gone, and I think that for whatever reason, this red stick man is actually that's Mr. Gone, the head villain. Again, the Maxx is just real weird, dude.
And the art changes crazily. Like this weird
that painting is awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
Dude,
and then
I had to laugh. Can we just pause for a second? The scene where the Maxx gets knocked into a telephone cord store, which is hilarious because, I mean, that's drawing those cord things like, Sam Keith's kind of, it's his thing.
Right.
But it's just the ribbons that look like that, but it's just hilarious that he goes into a store with just thousands of cords hanging from the ceiling, and they're all the same color. Like, what? Just Cords is the name of the store.
Yeah, and then there's the narrative conceit that they're all hanging out like that because they're cleaning them.
So weird. That is the strangest, thing I've seen in a comic in a while.
And also the only reason why Mako's giving Maxx trouble is because earlier in the issue, Maxx glued his hands together. He couldn't get his claws out.
Yes, as soon as the solvent from the cords dissolves the glue, oh buddy.
That's such a strange, I don't know. Whoever would have thought of that? We're cleaning telephone cords with solvent, hanging in a store that just sells telephone cords, and that's how our hero is going to free his claws. What?
Yeah, dude. It's off the rails. I love it though. Honest to God,
it's so strange.
Can people also not see what the Maxx is?
I think he just
they think he's just like some homeless guy,
right? Because these cops pull him out of the rubble and they're saying they're not very, even Dragon's not very impressed.
Yeah, everyone just thinks he's like some insane guy.
Yeah. The hallucinations, dude. There's a iconic the Maxx thing where in his head he's riding like a leopard or something like that, and in the real world he's just sitting on a mailbox, like one of those blue mailboxes.
Yeah.
And someone's staring at him. He's like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And it's just hallucinations are a big part of the Maxx.
Yeah, and you'll see that in the issue where Savage Dragon crosses over with the Maxx. It's the same thing. There's a lot of weird hallucinating scenes.
I like it.
I forget what issue that's in, but
I'm a fan. I know it's weird, but I'm a fan. I think it's cool as shit, dude. Does it make a lot of sense? No. Would I love to see Eric Larson draw Mako in that super neon weird swim trunk outfit that he has in this one panel? Yes.
All right, so let's crank through the rest of these. They're pretty brief. We got an appearance in Team Youngblood number 3. Written by Rob Liefeld and penciled by Chap. Yep, what?
Wait, I'm sorry. Before we jump ahead, just to note on the Maxx cartoon, they replaced Mako in the cartoon with Hammerhead. Image 8 of the Maxx cartoon adapting issue 6 of the Maxx comic book, Mako was replaced with a half-man, half-shark creature called Hammerhead. So that's how they got around that. Sorry.
And also, before we leave, sorry, but I made a note, and I think it's cool. Augie DeBleck wrote in on this issue.
Oh.
And said that Augie is short for August.
That makes sense.
There you go. He was correcting them for fucking his name up. That's it. Moving along.
So, this Team Youngblood issue is another super brief cameo. Apparently there's some doomsday scenario happening with Youngblood. And
playing out in space. And Spawn is down on Earth thinking that he should help, but he can't. And Dragon's down on Earth thinking he should do more, but he can't. He's just dealing with
one panel.
One really fucking weird looking panel.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
That is an Oogie Legend of Oogie Dragons.
Look at those shoes.
Yeah. Tie goddamn shoes.
Straight from your ankle to your calf.
Just a guy hanging over his shoulder, you know?
Yeah.
Well, listener, there's no reason to look up this comic or buy it.
No, it's not good. This is when you say the failed, like, Jim Lee inspired, like, Liefeld ripoff. Like, this just doesn't work, dude.
It's that chap Yape and Norm Rapman who did tons of, like, these kinds of comics. I just don't understand. I don't know.
You don't understand?
I get the appeal to a small extent because, like I said, like, when you see Dutch, like, Dutch looks cool. You know what I mean?
No, he doesn't. He's got all this
does.
crap all over his face.
Which one's Dutch?
He's
The
like
guy's
the guy
got
that...
Go ahead.
No, it is like almost like, imagine if Batman's horns were technology.
Wait, go to page 18, please.
Okie dokie.
The bottom panel.
I am there. Oh, with the thumbs up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Dutch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a cool design.
I think he's cool, dude.
He's got like weird blobs for horns.
No, see, the thing is, Liefeld drew it one way and it looked a lot better.
Right.
Oh,
And
agreed.
wait. I just want to say, like, look at 18 and then go look at 20. What? How the hell can you, like, do anything with that on your face?
Oof. Yeah. That's a design.
I mean, I don't know, dude. It's got a weird appeal to it. I can't describe it, but there's something about it. Like, look at the little belts around the, like, you know, the swingy Buccaneer boots.
Uh-huh.
Dude, I get it.
His pants his shoes are wearing jeans.
I know, dude. Like I said, I know.
Are wearing jeans. It's
I know,
funny
dude.
because it's true.
Look at the little belt buckle. Like, it's got a
Like little
buckle.
jean skirts.
It does, dude. And for some reason, though, like I said, I just like the shading on the knee pads. I don't know, dude. I love it. I wish I could articulate it better.
No, I get it.
I understand why this appeals to you.
All those goddamn tubes.
But my God, I can't help but look at this and go, this is the worst.
On page 21, I'll tell you
this art is like the cliche in
It
reality.
is. No, it really is. On page 21, the kids, like the extreme art style, was never meant to render children. Like, it just doesn't work.
His arm is like huge.
Yeah, dude. It's bad. It's just bad. So
I don't
the
want to
art's
bash it, but it's
the art's terrible. It's got its charms, but it's just not good.
But you're totally on it, Jim. Like, when people talk about bad 90s art, this is the issue they're talking about.
Yeah. 100%.
The funny thing is, like, I understand what you're saying with Dutch. Like, if you look at a Liefeld drawing of Dutch, like where he probably just did like a cover, he makes the things on his head look like it could work. But when like a Liefeld imitator does it, no.
I get it. I totally agree too. Like, the funny thing is,
Dude, if you scroll through the whole issue, the thing on Dutch's head changes its look so many freaking times. It's unreal.
We talked about Sam Keith, but like, dude, there's no visual consistency here at all.
None.
Yep. It's
There's
rough.
just too much going on.
I also think
Keep it simple, stupid. Seriously, though.
The choice to have, like, you have Savage Dragon and you have Spawn, and you've been given permission to use them, and you've got this giant crisis. Like, show them kicking ass.
Yeah.
Don't just have them lamenting that they can't. Like, draw them kicking ass
Spawn
and be like,
All
on the
right,
fire
you guys
with
have
a
to
couple
see
homeless
this.
guys.
Turn to page 15.
mm-hmm.
The bottom.
When you hear the bell, turn the page.
Yes, turn to page 15 and look at the bottom right-hand panel.
Oh, no.
I'm on my way.
Now, I'm pretty sure that's Badrock.
I know exactly what you're going to talk about, Jim.
All right.
Yep. Go ahead, dude.
No, you surprised me. Tell me what what I want to talk about.
The purple sack hanging over his shoulder, his right shoulder, and yet it appears that his right hand is still down at his side. So what is holding that purple sack up? I don't know.
Oh boy.
What is holding that purple sack up? That's what she said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They know.
What is that thing on the ground?
It's a yo-yo.
Is it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more creative than what I think, which is nothing. I think it's just some fucking weird, like, debris.
Oh, man.
All right, let's get away from this.
Yeah, you nailed it, though, dude. You nailed it. Like, this is what, when people pick on the 90s, this is what they have in their mind. That's it.
All right, so
page 15, it's actual Rob Liefeld on the left panel. Like chiseled Rob Liefeld.
Dude, and then
the
again,
bottom left.
like we're talking about Oogie things they did with like Oogie names and Oogie stuff. Like they have a character in this named Kirby
Yeah.
who's clearly meant to be like some kind of weird loving Jack Kirby Amish.
Yeah.
But he's like a fucking midget with a cigar. Like it's just strange. Strange.
does he have big eyebrows? Because that's a Jack Kirby thing.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he's got the cigar and everything.
yeah, he's like, "Hey, kid," you know, like you could tell what they're going for. I was just like, I know you love the man, but don't put him in the comic like that.
Oh, that's right. Here at the beginning, right?
Yeah, at the very beginning, Kirby's the
Yeah.
guy with white hair and the cigar. Yeah,
And
that is Jim getting away from this conversation. I'm out of here.
He saw Kirby. He's like, "Brrr."
okay, one last thing to talk about. So there's this comic series called Tribe, of which exactly one issue came out from Image, issue number 1, and then there were 3 additional issues, all self-published. Now, I looked up some information on this comic, and there's some interesting facts about it before we get real into it, just to give the audience something.
It actually is interesting, is what's funny.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to talk about who's behind it?
Yes, created by Todd Johnson and Larry Stroman.
And Larry Stroman at the time was super hot on X Factor.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that. Like, I was collecting those issues and loving his art. Like, he was one of the top artists at the time.
Yeah, and he's pretty prolific.
To be fair, I still think there's a huge appeal to this art. But we'll get into it. I'll let you say your thing, Jim.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, Tribe number 1 is like the best-selling all African American creative comic of all time. It
Yeah,
sold like
million
a million
issues.
issues, which is why
Million seller.
I find it in bins all the time.
Yeah, this thing is fucking everywhere, dude. If you're looking in a quarter bin, you're gonna find a copy of Tribe.
The crazy thing is, like, I didn't even know he was African American when I was a kid collecting this because I never saw artists like,
Yeah.
you know. You
Yeah,
just
there was
didn't
no
know.
internet. You had no way.
Yeah, unless it was in like Wizard, like top 10 artists or whatever. But I just remember not even realizing that, you know, not that it matters either way, but I think a lot of it, like, people just bought it because the art was cool.
Yeah.
And Tribe's whole thing is that it's primarily a African American cast, other minorities cast, and that kind of gives it a unique sort of like purpose in this era.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate it only got like the one Image issue and a bunch of like self-published follow-ups.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the story behind that? Is that what no?
Apparently,
why?
due to delays and stuff, just various changes in the creative.
Did they like boot him because it was taking too long? Because I
There's
feel
a
like
big gap.
there was a time where they pared down Image a bit because of like there were too many comics coming out. Like I know like Shaman's Tears got the boot, and I don't know Trencher did, but like a few comics did at the time and left the sour taste in some people's mouths. But they were trying to like kind of solve their problems with like watering down the brand and stuff.
Right. Yeah, that second wave, there was a lot of books, mostly by Liefeld. Yeah, I get that sense too. I mean, Trencher, I would say, was one of the better ones. So I think Giffen just moved on.
Well, it's not that I get the sense. I know it had. I don't know the complete story, but I remember like Mike Grell's Shaman's Tears was one of them. There was a few books that got the boot, not because the sales are bad per se, but because they were, I believe, trying to like clean things up.
I see.
With late books and...
Well,
and
it says here this issue sold 1 million copies, so it couldn't possibly have been the sales reason if it got kicked off.
No, it might have been getting too late or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know the story behind this one. I'm just saying.
But I couldn't find it. I looked.
But it is slightly interesting, and I didn't realize Larry Stroman was so prolific. I mean, he also did Alien Legion, which I am aware of, although I have not read his particular arc. Alien Legion was a pretty good, like, independent, like, sci-fi series that I think was published through the Epic imprint at Marvel for a while, and then on its own elsewhere. But what's relevant to us is that in issue 3 of Tribes, published by Access Comics, Dragon shows up.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get too much into it, but there's a big fight scene going on, I assume, coming off of previous issues events. We got some pretty interesting looking characters here. Predominantly this one woman with a giant hips. She looks a lot like Buttress from like the later SOS lineup.
Yeah, you're
Dragon.
right.
You remember her?
Yeah. Yep.
I used to call her Thunder Thighs, which now that I say it out loud is pretty rude. But
you're horrible.
Apparently, originally, I guess officially, her name was Buttress, and I'm pretty sure she got murdered by Kerr.
Rosalind. And remember, if you remember my quote, I said, "Man, dude, when I first saw that butt, I was like, I didn't know you could draw them that big." It was like Stroman unlocked the code.
Ooh.
Like,
I will say this. Not a lot of people go with the unusual body types, and it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah, dude, like, what's funny is you still, to this day, I would say, don't have this character in comics.
No.
Is what's funny. Like, I don't think, like, anybody's going to do it like this. So, and you actually see that body type on the Reporter, too.
Yeah,
is what's
Reporter's
funny.
also unusually shaped. Or more accurately, not unusually shaped. She's
leg heavy.
Just different than your typical, than you would see, in particular during this era. But during this big fight, the cops all show up, and of course, who comes along with the cops? But Dragon. Dragon is here.
He's a cop.
He's a cop. He's here.
He's gonna show up.
Although I think this is taking place in New York, so this almost must take place during that between period again, when he's in New York. In fact, where is it? They actually mention pizza-eating talking turtles.
Yeah, there's a nod.
Yeah,
for sure.
From Dragon, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dragon's here, and he confronts them. He says, "I'm going to arrest all of you," and they all attack him. And he winds up with this woman on top of him, and he has got the weirdest fucking face in this panel.
Well, can I say that prior to this page, that was a rock-solid Dragon, right?
Yeah, he looked pretty good getting out of the cop car. And from behind when he's in semi-shadow.
Yeah, so prior to this page, like, Stroman is knocking it out of the fucking park. Like, that's a good Dragon. You're right. When Rosalind's on top of him, like, straddling his knee, super gratuitous butt shot.
It almost seems like the artist changed for these last few pages.
Dude, that fucking...
No, I don't think
the
so.
way his head works. is so weird.
He looks like he's eating her head.
Yeah, for the listener, if all you have is our audio, like, this picture of Dragon, he's got this in almost like a Komodo dragon's head looks.
Yeah.
Like, instead of the way a human's, like, skull connects to the base of their neck, like, his fucking neck is just going, like, straight up from, like, the back of his, from his back to, like, the top of the back of his head. And even the fin looks wrong, like, more wrong. Like, he got it more right in previous pages. And then, like, just totally whiffs on this page. You can tell all the focus was on the butt.
Yeah, it's so strange.
100% butt shot. Like, that's all it was. They even have the wordplay where he goes, "So you were explaining that your friends are not behind this," and the word "behind" is, like, bolded.
Right, because this woman has tackled him to the ground.
So, yeah, everyone was concerned with emphasizing the butt on that panel.
Yes. So this issue came out in 1994, and it would not get a conclusion for 2 years when they eventually released Tribe number 0.
which bizarrely was tribe number 4, actually.
Yes. And we actually get a conclusion to Dragon's involvement here, which I did not expect because I actually thought this was the last issue.
Right.
So this new villain has arrived, and actually, let's check the creative team really quick. It's still Todd Johnson and Larry Stroman.
Yep.
The villain's name is pretty awesome.
What is the villain's name?
I'll let you read it for yourself.
Hold on. Well, I got to know where to find it first.
The black box on the second page.
Lord Deuce? Well, it's not Lord Deuce. It's Lord Deus.
Oh, all right.
Because Deus Ex, I think, is what they're going for.
Oh.
It's still not great.
Deuce.
It's still questionable.
Chuck a deuce.
But Dragon's still here, of course, and now he's fighting on the side of these heroes because this Lord Deus has killed a cop. So very clearly that he's the bad guy. Of course, this villain appears to be sitting. Well, it's weird because he comes in not sitting on a chair.
Got like the Mobius chair,
and then suddenly he's sitting in a Mobius chair.
Yeah, big time.
And just to get Dragon out of the story, they just
genius
time travel him away, and this is where it gets weird. So apparently they've time traveled Dragon to a how do they say it here? Your friend will find first-time time travel most disorienting, considering I had no time to set any particular destination. Not that knowing where he was going would make his ride more pleasant, just something to remember. And so Dragon gets time traveled, and he falls out of this chair. He's on fire, and he lands in a farmer's field that all catches fire, and you get that classic Savage Dragon pose of Dragon in the burning field. And you get a little editor's note at the bottom saying, Savage Dragon #1 for you completionists out there. Still a fine series. So, and there's one last thing. The chair has a dialogue. The chair says, incomplete sequence instructions, reset and return to point. Oh, the chair's just going back where it came from. Never mind. I thought that it had something to do with Dragon being in this burning field.
No.
So it's implying they're depositing Dragon at the origin, but it doesn't make any sense because that would mean Dragon's in a time loop.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think the chair is talking about Dragon there.
Yeah.
Because the chair doesn't go back. So I think the gag is that they're trying to time loop Dragon, oh, this is his origin. And it's no.
That doesn't work.
What a crazy
It's pretty ballsy to do, though.
Yeah. Right?
And whenever we talk about the burning field that Dragon is found in, do you ever imagine it to be like a country farm? I always thought.
No, I thought it was like an alley or something.
I always think about it as like a empty lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in a park.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. It's just it's very weird. It's very clear they just want to get him out of the story as quickly as possible.
The drawing on the cow and the sun does not match for the listener. The rest of the comic is drawn very much on model. The drawing of the cow and the sun on this field, this farm field,
it's
Dragon
so strange.
Dude, it's like a child drew it. The sun is a big circle with little squiggles coming off of it.
I think it's a joke, but it's very strange.
Yeah, it's weird. And that thus concludes Dragon's involvement.
Yep. And so those were all the Dragon appearances in this time. Well, this one's even later than that, but it didn't really tie into anything later, so we just decided to cover it here. But yeah, Dragon got around a bit in the early days. Some for good, most for pretty forgettable.
He was the Shovel Knight of his time.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah, you could say that.
For the non-video game initiated, there's just a modern equivalent that's perfect. Shovel Knight's a video game character who was very popular, and brother, they put him in anything. He's all over the fucking place. So, yeah, definitely. I don't think Eric was way too strict on these crossovers.
You got to wonder. I mean, they were probably just people he met at conventions and said, "Yeah, do it."
Well, most of them are image tied. I bet you the Tribe one was already set in motion.
Yeah.
And I did a little reading. Mike Grell's Shaman Tears was booted because of like time constraints. Like there was a quote I just saw. It was like McFarlane was like, "These guys aren't going to just get rich off of us." So basically saying like a lot of guys were coming through Image, putting out books, selling tons of copies, and then like not hitting deadlines. And so it was, you know, on top of the creator, the founders doing it, when you have a bunch of, you know, second tier guys doing it as well, it's starting to get even worse. So I do think that Tribe probably suffered that same fate. It probably took them too long to get issue 2 out.
You know, it's funny you should say that, Craig, because I remember a very recent thing where he said he was interviewing somebody and he said the problem with Image, he said everybody thinks it's like it was just a bunch of lazy, undisciplined artists. He said, but he said every first issue is $1 million seller. He said, so you would do one issue, get a check for $250,000, and he said people just leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, that might have, not saying that's what happened, but geez, imagine that you're like, you make the biggest selling like African American comic in history, U.S. history, still apparently hasn't been topped. You're probably gonna fuck around a bit.
Yeah. I think that's what was happening. So yeah. It was a deep dive there. Some comics I had read and some I had never read. I had no intention of.
I had never read any of these.
Really? Yeah. Well, I guess it's a little different. Like I was collecting all these at the time. So like I was just scooping up. At the time, like you would just, you know, grab anything you could because there wasn't that much of it out there, you know?
Right.
It's weird because I read the Spawn one as it came out. I read the Maxx one as it came out. Some of these I had just seen. I think I read the Supreme one as it came out. Yep. But then like some of these I've just seen over the years. Like just that weird Oogie. There's just so many of these Oogie dragons that like people love for some reason, and they'll be like, "Oh, look at this pinup." And I'm like, God damn, that's horrible, dude. Like, but I don't know.
It's crazy. I read the Spawn as it came out. I read the Shadowhawk as it came out. The Supreme as it came out. I looked at the cover of the Bombast because I never opened it. The Maxx I read when it came out. I did not read Team Youngblood. I think that probably came out so much later that I just forgot about it. And the same thing with Tribe. Like for years, I didn't know that Tribe ever made more than that one issue.
Me too, dude. I literally had no idea. And before this FINcast, I didn't know there was more than one issue. And I never knew the story either.
It's crazy.
I thought, here's what's so funny. Okay, no, for real, I thought it died a sales death. I was like, oh, geez, that's sad. It didn't succeed because it was so cool. It was a complete reverse. Like it succeeded like fucking crazy, and that probably was what did it in. It's bizarre, dude. It's crazy to learn that.
So, I don't know if we'll need to do another one of these episodes in a few dozen episodes. I don't know how many more like guest appearances or crossovers happen in the next few years.
Seems less and less.
Less and less over time, exactly. But if there are, some that we missed or some that we'll get to, we'll maybe try it again. But for the ongoing future, we're finally going to actually review some Savage Dragon comics. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. I think any of the like tie-ins could probably be reviewed in the same episode as like the regular issue.
Yeah, we could probably squeeze them in.
You think like 6 years down the road, we'll be like, and in that PvP Image series, here's Troll and Dragon fighting for one panel, and then we just move on.
And that one issue of Hellhounds, and that.
There's not much that's integral to the Dragon story.
Right. We're going to be getting a lot more miniseries coming up, as well as Freak Force. So there's still a lot of more like spin-off stuff that we're going to be getting to, but not so much the guest appearance stuff.
Right.
Which is why I want to crank all this out now, when it was still semi-relevant.
Yeah, and it was an important time though for Image Comics. Like these guys, like I said, there wasn't a lot of Dragon issues out there, so we were just starting to see him for the first time, and we were learning about him through all these other comics and learning that he was just a
Not
a cop getting
not very good at jumping.
yeah.
Super into the law.
Yes, fascist dragon.
Really into the law. We have laws for society. Let me ask you, dudes.
We live in a society.
Let me ask you, dudes. So, is this something that you miss? Like, would you like to see, like, just Malcolm showing up all over? Like, is this something you wish was still going on, or did you just not give a shit?
I think the inconsistency hurts it.
Yeah.
You think it's negative?
Know what I miss more of, like, stuff that would matter. Like, so if it was like highbrow, like Eric Larson stuff, like Super Patriot, where Dragon shows up, or something like that, where it really meant something. But,
oh, right. And Super Patriot shows up in Glory #1. In like the first 2 pages, where she's reminiscing about her World War II days.
I do miss, like, Eric having his own, like, side miniseries and stuff like that, because you're able to flesh out more of the story. I do not miss when there's important details in other books, and then, like, you totally miss out on it 20 years later if you're reading it.
We will get to someday when we do some what is it, Bloodstrike issues, or no, it's Bloodstrike issues.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a few months.
Yeah, I mean, back then though, like, the fan base was reading everything out of Image, so you know what I mean. It wasn't like you were missing anything. But now, fast forward 30 years later, 27, 17, whatever.
20.
I just know that, like, it was cool at the time because it felt like, as someone that was just getting into this, and it was all so exciting, and it was also cool. It was cool at the time to see Dragon just popping up everywhere.
It was like the birth of a new Marvel Comics in a way, and you wanted to see.
Well, it was the birth of a comic publisher. I mean, this happens when you're new. You throw, well, especially when you're trying to build a shared universe, because that was one of the goals. Where, of course, was to have that shared Image universe. That's why you see Super Patriot in the Youngblood stuff all the fucking time.
Right.
It almost feels like sometimes that Super Patriot, reading some of this stuff, it almost feels like Super Patriot's more of a Extreme Studios character than a Savage Dragon character, even though we know that's not true.
Yeah, he was almost in goddamn X-Force, like, so weird. It just, I don't know, like I said, it's cool that it was cool at the time, but, like, all these cameos, I think you're right. Like, I think they have the potential to not be so awesome. You know what I mean? Like, if something's weird and off-brand, like, somebody could read it and be like, "Rrr." And I think, like, maybe that's, like, it just lends itself to that whole Dragon is a cop thing.
And how many times can you have Dragon go to, like, New York or somewhere to, like, try to catch some guy, and it's a misunderstanding, and
yeah, you're under arrest. It's like, okay,
there's only so many times you can do it before it gets pretty old.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck these cameos, dog.
I enjoyed them when they came out.
You can sort of tell why Eric likes to co-plot these now.
Oh yeah, dude, big time. Like, that way you don't have bizarre. Oh, I can't jump this gap.
Or just bizarre dialogue, stuff he would never say.
Yeah. Or just Oogie, like super giant, like Dragon all giant and shit. It's like, no, he's not super giant.
All right, well.
Yep, we've run out of things to say. So thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you, dear listeners. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Craig.
And we'll be back next time with probably an episode about Savage Dragon.
If you want to add your input or anything like that, what's the email?
SavageFINcast@gmail.com, or leave a comment on our website, SavageFINcast.com.
Beautiful.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everybody.